I cheated on my husband, that's a fact, and the reason I did that was because I was sick of how secure he is. And what I mean by that is every single thing he just is too nice. He makes my breakfast, he folds my clothes, he takes our kid to school like every day without me asking. It's never my turn to do it because he's already taken care of it, and I'm sick of it. I need somebody more, well, I don't know, but not this. But then I said, oh man, I wish I never cheated on him because I realized he was the man of my dreams, but now he found someone else, a different woman. And I don't know how to get him back, but there's one thing I know for sure. I'm not gonna stop until I get him back. I'm 25, divorced for almost a year now. I was married to Mario for 3 years and together for 5 in total. We have a son, Toby, who just turned 4, and before anybody asks, yes, I'm the reason we're not together anymore. Yeah, I had an affair, and yeah, I hate myself for it. The first time I saw Mario, I thought he was too calm to hurt anyone, ever. He had this way of moving through the world like nothing could shake him, like he'd already figured out all the answers, and was just waiting for everyone else to catch up. I wish I could say the same for myself. I've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder since I was 19, and calm has never been my default setting. We met at my friend Sarah's barbecue. He was standing by the grill, not really talking to anyone, just watching the coals with this peaceful expression amongst his face, and when Sarah introduced us, he smiled and said my dress matched the sunset, but it wasn't cheesy. It was just an observation, like he noticed beautiful things without needing to own them. Well, dating him felt like learning a new language. He never rushed anything. Our first kiss happened after 6 dates. And even then he asked if it was okay. Not because he was unsure, but because he wanted me to be sure. Gosh, I miss that carefulness now. When we got married, I remember thinking the wedding felt like a shelter I did not know how to live inside of. Safety made me restless in ways I couldn't explain. My therapist said it was common with BPD, that stability can trigger the fear of abandonment, You start looking for the exit before you can lock in. Mario loved me quietly. He folded my laundry without being asked, remembered exactly how I take my coffee order, oat milk, no sugar, extra hot, and never once raised his voice even when I was spiraling. Our home smelled like baby powder and garlic, this strange mix of parenthood and his Italian cooking that somehow became the scent of everything I'd eventually destroy. After Toby was born, I watched Mario transform into this incredible father. Some nights I'd stand in the doorway watching him read bedtime stories, doing all the voices, being so patient when Toby asked for just one more. I'd watch them and wonder how anybody could be that steady, that sure of their place in this world. My disorder was like ghost hummings beneath my good days, waiting for silence to speak, and the medication helped, but it just dulled everything. Happiness, guilt, even hunger. I told myself numb was safe, safer than chaos, but numbness breeds its own kind of danger, and you stop feeling the warning signs. Therapy felt like reading instructions for a life I didn't believe I could build. My therapist, Linda, kept telling me I was making progress, but progress felt like trying to hold water in my hands. I'd leave sessions feeling hopeful, then come home to Mario's patient smile and feel trapped all over again. I loved him. I needed whoever reads this to understand that I loved him, but my brain translated love into confinement. Every kind gesture felt like another bar on a cage I'd built myself. The affair wasn't planned. That sounds like an excuse, but it's the truth. I was a work thing, one of those terrible office Christmas parties where everybody drinks too much and pretends Monday won't come. His name was Jeffrey, a consultant from our Portland office, and he was everything Mario wasn't. Impulsive, reckless, somebody who laughed too loud and stood too close. The night it happened, it was raining. I remember the smell of cheap wine and rain against Jeffrey's coats when he offered to share his umbrella. We were both drunk, but not drunk enough to know what we were doing. The second it was over in his hotel room that smelled like industrial carpet cleaner, I knew I had broken something sacred and irreparable. I told Mario immediately. I drove home in the middle of the night, still dizzy from wine and self-disgust, and woke him up to confess, like confession could double as a punishment. His face didn't twist, his face didn't shout. He just sat there on the edge of the bed. A man learning gravity had changed direction. He said, okay. Okay. So we went to one counseling session together. I cried the entire time, but realized halfway through I was crying for him instead of myself. The therapist kept asking what I wanted to work toward, and I could not answer because I'd already decided. I didn't want forgiveness, I wanted escape. The guilt was eating me alive, and staying felt like forcing him to watch me rot. Filing for divorce felt like cutting off a limb and calling it healing. Mario didn't fight, his signature on the papers were neat and controlled, like he was protecting my dignity even then. He still brought me soup when I got sick that winter, leaving it on the doorstep with a note that just said, feel better. I stopped sleeping after I moved out. Every creak in the apartment sounded like a goodbye I never get to take back. I packed boxes between panic attacks and labeled everything miscellaneous because I could not bear to be specific about dismantling our life. The day I officially moved out, Mario helped carry my boxes. He hugged Toby for so long I thought he might never let go, and I pretended not to cry when he finally did. Watching them separate was like watching somebody tear a photograph in half. Divorce became this quiet word, too small for the size of the hole it leaves. Friends congratulated me for being honest and prioritizing my mental health, as if confession erased consequence. Mario from book club actually said I was brave for leaving. Brave as if destruction takes courage. I convinced myself Mario would be better off, that he would remarry someone whole, somebody who could accept his love without treating it like a threat. I told everyone I was moving on, but really I was just drifting. Then Toby asked why we had two homes now. I said sometimes love needs space to grow, even though mine had already died. And that's that. I don't really have anything else to say. What's up, everybody? So there is an update for this. In fact, there's two. The first update did not surface for 6 whole months, and we finally get to see what happened. It says, hey everyone, it's been a while since my original post. Thank you for the people that reached out. Even the harsh comments, and honestly, I deserved them all. Life after divorce looked a lot like loneliness dressed up as freedom. My new apartment was smaller, quieter, and smelled perpetually like fresh paint no matter how many candles I burnt. I thought I'd feel relieved once I was alone, but instead, I just felt empty. I started dating too soon, way too soon. If you're recently divorced and reading this, please don't do what I did. Don't chase noise to drown out the silence. The guy I met, I'll call him Jake, was charming in the way hunger can be mistaken for love. We met at a bar where my coworker Maria was having her birthday. He called me beautiful before he even asked about my son, which should have been the first big red flag, but I was so desperate to feel wanted again, to feel anything other than guilt, that I ignored every warning sign. Well, I would say his anger came in small doses at first. You know, a slam door here after an argument about nothing, a raised voice when I took too long getting ready, and then came a shove during a fight about me texting Mario about Toby's schedule, and he apologized right away, bought flowers, said it would never happen again. Well, it did, and again, and by the time I noticed the pattern, it was easier to pretend that it wasn't one. I told myself I deserved it. Guilt finds creative ways to survive, and mine convinced me this was karma. He said I was lucky anybody loves me at all. A divorced single mother with mental health issues, some nights, lying next to him with fresh bruises, I actually believed him. Mario texted occasionally to check on Toby, never on me, which somehow hurt more than silence would have. Every time I saw his name on my screen, I felt both peace and panic. His messages were brief, practical. Toby's dentist appointment is Thursday, or he left his dinosaur at my place. Then one day Toby came home from a weekend with his father, talking about Daddy's friend Jess. My heart stopped when I asked who Jess was. Toby said she made really good cookies and helped him with puzzles. Mario was dating someone. I wanted to hate her. I scrolled through her Facebook for hours. Yeah, I'm pathetic. Looking at her perfect smile and normal life, she was everything I was not. Stable, sunny, someone who probably never had a panic attack in a Target parking lot. What I really hated was how gentle she probably was. How she probably accepted Mario's love like a gift instead of a burden. The relationship with Jake finally ended when I ran out of excuses for bruises. I left one morning while he was at work. taking nothing but a diaper bag and Toby's favorite stuffed T-Rex. I slept in my car for 2 nights before my old roommate from college let me crash on her couch. I couldn't tell Mario the shame was suffocating, and here I was, the woman who left him for freedom, sleeping in my Honda Civic with our son. I'd traded the safest love I'd ever known for someone who used my body like a punching bag. Well, weeks later, Mario and I met to exchange Toby at a park. He looked healthier, calmer, like grief had sharpened him into something steady. His hair was short, and he was wearing a new jacket I didn't recognize. It was a navy blue. Jess probably picked it out for him. When his hand brushed mine during the handoff of Toby's backpack, I felt safe. Safe for the first time in months. That brief touch reminded me what gentleness felt like. We talked about Toby's preschool, the weather, how his mom was doing, everything but what mattered. I told him I was not seeing anyone. He just nodded like he knew, and I wondered if Toby had mentioned Jake. The thought made me nauseous. That night, I lay awake replaying the way Mario smiled when Toby ran to him screaming, "Daddy!" I just realized I still loved him. Not in the desperate possessive way like I need someone now, but with this ache of recognition, like looking at a photo of a house that you used to live in. A week later, he came over to drop off Toby's forgotten rain boots. We lingered at the doorway, neither of us moving closer, and I offered him coffee, and he should not have said yes, but he did. Well, one thing led to another, not really through passion, but through muscle memory. My body remembered his body like a song you haven't heard in years but still know every word to. The intimacy was slow, familiar, and holy almost. I cried halfway through and he just helped me. Silent and steady, his thumb wiping away tears like he used to when I would have an episode. We didn't talk about what it meant, we didn't talk at all. The next morning, guilt and hope were having a war in my chest, but he texted before I could overthink it. "That can't happen again, the divorce was necessary, I'm with Jess now." I agreed, but my heart refused to sign the document twice. I deleted his messages, but I still can recite it word for word. "The divorce is necessary. I don't love you. I moved on." Necessary like medicine that tastes terrible but makes you better. And that's why I'm ending the update here. I'm just simply lost for words. Final update posted 3 months after the messy reunion. This'll be my last update for sure. I finally have something worth sharing that isn't just me wallowing in self-pity and hooking up with a man that has a girlfriend now. After that night with Mario, I felt like I was withdrawing from some sort of drug, not from him exactly per se, but from the version of myself I was when he loved me. That woman who had someone patient enough to weather her storms. I found a therapist who worked on a sliding scale. This incredible woman named Frankie, who didn't ask for insurance, honestly, just honesty. Each session peeled back layers I buried beneath excuses. We did EMDRs, DBT, all the acronyms that slowly start to actually mean something. I learned that my disorder was not some villain living in my head, it was an unhealed child, pulling every wrong lever, trying to feel safe. Frankie helped me understand that Mario's stability did not trap me, my fear just deserving it did. Mario kept sending updates about Toby. First soccer goal, a drawing that won Student of the Week. The messages carrying more warmth now, less guarded, and I resist overreading them. Hope is an addiction too, and I was trying to get clean from everything. Well, one afternoon, Toby mentioned that Miss Jess brought homemade cookies to his soccer practice. When I asked if she was nice, he said, "Well, she helps me tie my shoes when Daddy's hands are full." That night I cried, but it wasn't from self-pity. I realized she was a kind person. Mario deserved somebody kind. Someone who would not treat his love like something to survive. For the first time, love did not feel like ownership, it felt like release. I started journaling the small victories. Took my medicine today, cooked dinner instead of ordering out, and did not check Jake's Instagram, didn't cry in the shower. Slowly, the days stopped feeling like punishment, and on Toby's 4th birthday last week, we all attended the same party. Me, Mario, and Jess. I watched them laugh together while cutting the dinosaur cake I ordered. She had her hand on his back, casual as ever, comfortable. The world did not end. When it was my turn to hug Mario goodbye, he whispered, "I'm proud of you." It wasn't about reconciliation, it was about recognition. Later, as I was cleaning up wrapping papers and crushing juice boxes, I noticed an envelope in the gift pile with my name on it. Mario's handwriting. Inside was a note. It said, "You saved me by leaving me. Now save yourself by staying." Behind the notes was a folded receipt. Several receipts actually, all from the child therapy center where Toby had been going to process the divorce. Paid in full. Mario had been quietly covering it for months. Never mentioning it, never asking for thanks. My throat closed up. This was love as architecture, invisible but holding everything up. That night, I sat on my tiny apartment balcony and finally forgave myself. Not in some big dramatic way, just a quiet "it's okay" to the woman I was. Or maybe I should say the woman I am, and the woman I'm becoming. The stars looked sharper than they had in years, as if clarity was a kind of light and could only see in the dark. I realized redemption was not getting Mario back, it was learning to live as the woman he believed I could be. Even after I proved him wrong, it was showing Toby that people can break things and still be worthy of love. It was just being kind to my son without resentment. It was Mario still believing in my ability to heal even from a distance, and this morning I applied for 3 jobs. Ate breakfast with Toby and felt something I'd forgotten existed. Peace. Not the medicated numbness I used to mistake for peace, but actual stillness. The kind where you're not waiting for disaster or running from ghosts. I don't know if Mario will ever read this. Part of me hopes he does, just so he knows that his last gift, that receipt, that proof of silent love, changed something fundamental in me, but mostly I'm writing this for anyone who's where I was. You can break the most beautiful things in your life and still be worthy of healing. You can hurt someone who loved you perfectly and still deserve your own gentleness. For the first time since the affair, I don't wish for the past. I simply hope to deserve tomorrow. And honestly, that feels like everything. Comment number 1. This comment disagreed with OP. "I'm sorry, but I can't stand these woe is me posts from cheaters who want sympathy. You had a perfect husband who folded your laundry and loved you unconditionally, and you threw it away for what? A drunk hookup with some random coworker. Mental illness is not an excuse to destroy someone who did something but support you through your worst moments. Then you have the audacity to sleep with him again, while he's with Jess, potentially ruining his relationship too. You say you've forgiven yourself, but honestly, you got off too easy. He's still paying for your kids' therapy while you get to play the victim. Mario and Jess deserve better than your shadow hanging over their relationship. Stop posting for validation and just focus on being a decent co-parent without romanticizing the man whose life you detonated." Comment number 2. Everyone attacking OP clearly has never dealt with real mental illness or the trauma rewiring your brain or your reject safety. She's not asking for forgiveness or trying to get him back. She's sharing her story to help others who might be sabotaging their own happiness. The fact that Mario wrote "you saved me by leaving," it shows he understands something most of these commenters don't. Sometimes loving someone means letting them figure out themselves. She took accountability immediately, filed for divorce to free him, and went through absolute hell, including an abusive relationship as a result. The receipt revelation shows Mario still believes in her ability to heal, and that kind of grace is exactly what people with BPD need to break the cycle. OP, thank you for sharing this raw, honest truth.